A while ago, I had a strange dream, uh, in which I dreamt that I was going to solve some famous murder mystery by looking at some photographs or some pictures, and I sort of took no notice of that. But very soon after that, I was approached by someone who asked me to publish a book about someone called Jack the Ripper. And coincidentally, the clues to this murder mystery connected with Jack the Ripper was to be found in certain paintings. So I eventually published this book. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, Jack the Ripper is kind of like, in Britain, where I come from, the most famous murderer of all time, really. Although it happened quite a long time ago, in the Victorian period. I think it was 1888. In the summer of that period, that these horrendous murders took place in what was then Victorian London, I suppose. And maybe I shouldn't put it this way, but there were five murders, I believe. Five women were killed in the East End of London, which is then maybe not a very nice area of London, very deprived, very poor, and these were quite poor women who were murdered in the most horrendous ways. But I suppose five murders in terms of all the other things, but five murders that have really gripped the imagination of people all over the world since. But certainly at the time, it totally terrified London. You know, people were really, really scared. And I suppose the strange thing about the murders were strange themselves. The murders were very brutal. And in effect, they never actually ever found out who Jack the Ripper was. I think the name Jack the Ripper comes from one of the notes that the guy sent to the police, because he used to taunt the police as well about the fact that they couldn't find him, you know, and they didn't know who he was. So it was all very strange and frightening. Why people are still interested in it, I suppose it's what's one of the first, I suppose, crimes of the imagination in some ways, because it wasn't, most murders, let's be honest, are about people who get angry with each other and in a moment of hatred or whatever, lash out and accidentally kill someone. But this was sort of so deliberate and so tied up with the imagination. And it was the first time, or what people call a serial killer. So we've had all these movies about serial killers and all the rest. And I guess Jack the Ripper was the first serial killer. Maybe there were others, but the first of that kind of strange, intense, crazy killing, if you like, that has become more known now, and people make films about it, and obviously these people exist. So there's a continual interest from that. Because they never found out who the murderer was, there have been lots of people who have come up with theories about who he might be. There have been loads and loads of books speculating about this. Our particular book speculated that it was actually was an artist, a very famous artist in this country, or who was involved with it, called Sickert, Walter Richard Sickert, who's one of the most famous of the British artists of the time. That obviously didn't go down very well with the Sickert family, but Sickert's pictures do depict all sorts of strange incidents and murders and cut up bodies and what they call low life, I suppose, street life and stuff like that. And there have been theories that it was members of the royal family trying to sort of hush up some sort of maybe illegitimate children or marriages that they shouldn't have had or whatever. There have been supposedly doctors have done it, say artists, perhaps Freemasons have been accused. There's very few people who haven't been accused of being Jack the Ripper. It's something that grips the British imagination, and perhaps people around the world, and I guess it's going to grip our imagination for an awful lot longer to come.